You need to get your I guess. I'm not Drew.
I'm trying to grab focus. I'm a little blurry.
Yeah, well, I knew that's what you're doing. I don't know why.
Yeah. You got the trick is to do this,
Yep.
and then you slowly bring it back.
Oh, there it is.
Go Stuart Phil Tigers. Hey guys, Drew is very late. Yeah, the chat was popping pregame. He was very late. He's currently sitting on the plane at the gate. They're not letting him off. Southwest is not letting us off, is his exact words. He'll be here momentarily joining us, hopefully. But maybe a good one to skip. We never skip. We'll always talk about it, but boy, about 3 or 4 times a year we run into one of these halftime shows where it's like, I don't know if anybody should actually take US dollars or Canadian dollars or Swedish krona or whatever it is you are betting on these games and put anything on the second half. Dallas is one of the better second half EPA per play teams last year. Maybe that was boosted greatly by scoring 40 points in the fourth quarter against the Colts at one time, but they were a really good second half team. New York, all of last year was a very good second half adjustment team. At the same time, like, what do we want to do? It would probably be Giants or nothing, because it's not as if Dallas's offense has looked, completely unstoppable. They look pretty good.
Yes. Hey, Drew.
What's happening, man?
Drew is literally on the tarmac.
This game kind of sucks, huh? It was a weird day of football. Week 1 is weird, man. Congrats to Andy. Andy had some great picks this week.
I had a nice day. It felt good. It felt good to have a nice day. We just Barry Horse just confirmed. I just got the telegram. Nothing at halftime for him either. I don't know what's the chat think on this one. I'm kind of looking at the stats right now.
Dallas gets the ball first.
Yeah, didn't think we'd be looking at a 26-0, and it wasn't just like bad luck. I mean, there was some bad luck, but it was bad play too. I mean, Jones threw an intercept. The one that should have been intercepted instead of the tip balls wasn't. I hit the guy right in the damn chest.
Yeah.
The kickers none of the kickers are actually having too great of a day. We had a really rough Blair Walsh-esque hook. Dan, I was on the call already here, getting ready with producer Dan, and he has the terrestrial bunny ears. And so he's always ahead of me, and he just starts cackling. And as they're like lining up, I'm like, oh God. He's like, you haven't seen the kick yet? I'm like, no, I'm on Peacock. And it fucked me. Yeah, he duck hooked that. Looked like my golf game from last weekend. Did you have TV on the plane, Drew?
No. I lost signal when it was 9-0, and then flipped it on at 26-0, and I get what happens, but it doesn't really feel like a Giants comeback is in the cards. But 1.5 isn't so much. I mean, there's this team that plays with pride. They're gonna, the second half is gonna have a very preseason feel to it, is my assumption. What do you think? 19.5 to the under?
Yeah. What if I told you both teams had the same amount of first downs?
That sounds right.
They were both 33% on third down. They both were 1 for 1 on fourth.
I mean, right now, yes. The Giants are going to want to get out of this without getting anyone hurt, right?
Yeah, and that is the main thing, too. If they really do want to put together a strong effort and like try to win this game, you have to throw a lot. And their offensive line looks like they don't like playing in the rain, apparently. Because it's not just Micah Parsons. It is a bunch of guys. You're getting pressure from the edge. You're getting pressure up the middle. You're getting pressure on run plays. You're getting people in the backfield on some of these designed Daniel Jones runs. You're not getting good blocking out on the edges. When Waller's open, Waller's great. Waller's such a good addition to this team. They just need to get a lot more figured out, and obviously, not have 2 turnovers that go for touchdowns right away. Because at that point, it's only like they're only down a couple scores otherwise. I don't know what's the only problem. What's the case for the low under?
Well, the Giants are not rostered to come back against the pass rush this good. Dallas doesn't have a very good kicking game. So I don't think Dallas is going to be adding points via field goals. Dallas doesn't really have like a super deep running back room. So this might just be an ugly, like really quick get out of this.
Which
You know,
are.
like this could end like 30. What's 6 points plus 26? 32. This could end like 32-6 or 32-8 or something like that.
Okay.
That's my feel.
I didn't have a strong take. I slightly into the Giants, but at the same time, they just are, like you said, they're not built to come back right now. A lot of the success they're having is like Saquon Barkley runs off guard, like just gap runs are working well. They're getting some, they're getting some from the Daniel Jones scrambles, which is nice, but it's anytime he's dropping back to pass, and that's the thing you said, they want to get out of here without getting injured. Jesus, how many hits do you think Daniel Jones has taken already? I mean, you missed the second quarter, but it's been a lot. Are you just in an Uber now? I think Drew signals shit now. It's kind of popping. All right, we'll play. It's awful juicy. I'm gonna see what we got in a different book.
Sorry about that. Just giving directions. You don't agree that 19.5 is a hair high?
No,
I'm
gonna play it.
Okay.
Smaller bet than that. Like I felt pretty good about the Lions money line and the under. I actually played the under for more on Thursday. But yeah.
Yeah, I had a weird mixed day in terms of luck.
Use free play. There we go. Under 18.5. I opted for I entered for an 18.5 minus 107 rather than a
so one of the
a lot of juice.
Yeah, that I wouldn't lay juice really, but basically what we're saying is no 3 touchdowns scored, right? That's the idea here. It's not about necessarily because if there's another field goal attempt, I'd be surprised, wouldn't you?
I don't know if I would be trying a lot. Do you think maybe some of that is the weather?
What do you mean? Why the kicking game has struggled?
Kicking has been so shitty.
I mean, it just feels like special teams was a little out of sorts for the Giants in a lot of ways, and then the Cowboys kicker looks terrible. So tough to say, but I don't know. I don't think there's going to be another field goal attempt, and I don't think we're going to see 3 touchdowns scored. And if we see 2 touchdowns scored and two 2-point conversions for the Giants or something like that, and then all of a sudden there's pressure that Dallas has to try to move the ball and put this away, then maybe it gets threatened. But,
yeah, that's right. It's a smaller bet than like what we went with on a Thursday. I'm not nearly as confident, nor do I really want to watch. I'd rather go watch a replay. I said that to Dan. There's a few games I just didn't watch at all today, and I really need to get caught up on a couple of them. I just spent too much time watching the Vikings and Packers games, honestly. And yeah, that kicker, even when he made one, that ball is not. You know how you have that zip on a really nice spiral from a good quarterback, and you end up, and then you have the guy who throws the wobbly duck ball, and it just doesn't look as clean, even if it gets there. Even the kick he made, it's like this just doesn't look good. Bring back Brett Maher. Maybe we get Tyrod Taylor. Does that worry you? If we get, well, let's say this is 32-0 in the fourth. Why would you keep Daniel Jones in after you sign him for that contract at that point?
I'm not even sure why you would bring him out here in the second half, really. I mean, again, Barkley, Jones, you don't want like
4-score game.
Yeah, it's a 4-score game. I think you put these guys on ice. I think anyone that matters realistically, I don't know why they'd be out there, but who knows?
Bauer struggled today too. Yeah, he did. All right, and obviously Drew's not home, so doing the recap show like we talked about is probably a little out of the cards. The flight being delayed by how late were you?
We sat around for an hour and a half. Yeah, not ideal.
So we'll sort that out off the air. We'll figure it out probably tomorrow. I have lots of time. I don't have any other shows to do besides Monday Night Halftime, but it'll give me a little more time to catch up on the injuries. I know somebody did ask about the Seattle injuries. It sounds like It sounds like Lucas is fine. That's just the same thing that was kind of bugging him. And it was another one of those like Aaron Jones where they're like, yeah, fuck, look at the scoreboard. Do we really need to put him back in? Whereas Cross might be a little worse. That was like a sprained big toe. They did some x-rays. That's not great. So if they are missing both tackles next week and Lockett did not have a concussion. He did pass concussion protocol, which I guess he's fine. So they did test him because it was a big hit. And then Boye Mafe, he got hurt too, but he came back into the game. So yeah, Seattle not only took one to the teeth, but they had some nasty injuries too. I'll be catching up on other injuries. Yeah, Seattle's other biggest injury was Hope. I mean, it was something we mentioned in the previews. Are like, we don't quite understand how they're building this defensive roster. Maybe it works.
I don't know, man.
Weird. It was a weird build.
Seattle was a disaster today.
Seattle. Yeah, my biggest disaster was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh was rough. Yeah, that was bad.
I really wanted to see preseason Pittsburgh's offense come back. So
Yeah,
it wasn't like a fun game to watch at all.
Yeah, no, I'm ready to grade a lot of stuff I bet preseason as losses. It's not a good overall kind of vibe, and I don't want to be super reactionary to week one because weird stuff happens. But
yeah,
there are a lot of things that I thought, oh, this happens, this could happen, and now I'm feeling like, well, that's not good. So
yeah, I have a.
Yeah,
there's
it was a weird day.
There's always a few like. I'm gonna have to look at all my award market bets. There's always a few that are just like, oh, this is dead. Like week one, this person has no shot. Which was almost, I put a little bit on Jaden Reed, rookie of the year, just because he was going to get a lot of time today. It's funny, and I tweeted this too. It's crazy how when a guy goes down and he screams and grabs his leg, it's either an ACL, which is you're done for a year, or it's cramps, which means you need a banana and some Gatorade. Like, and it was cramps. Like, it's crazy. The guys just, it's like they got shot when you have a cramp that bad too. So I'm glad he's okay. And yes,
how about
commies were not good.
No, they weren't. Okay, so just out of curiosity, of the teams that you saw that like sucked today, there's like 8 of them. Are any of them like bounce back candidates to you, or? Yeah, obviously the Bengals and the Steelers probably follow, but like I guess here of the teams that just sucked today, anyone that you're like, oh yeah, no, that's who they are, they suck.
Yeah, probably. Like, God, honestly, I've not been super keen on the Giants. I don't expect 26-0, but I expected them to lose, like they did in their division last year. They were 1-5-1 in division. Like I expect them to lose against good teams. You might see a little more of this. Hey, the Giants aren't very good this year, and it's still a really nice rebuild. And I think they can definitely reach the playoffs next season. Seattle might be there for me. Seattle's getting a downgrade. New England, I worry a little about the offense, although the defense did look pretty good at times. Actually, damn good at times. Cincinnati, I'm not worried. I guess they have started a little slow. Burrow doesn't seem to like week one. I'm not 100% sure on that. Honestly, the only team of the good teams, it's like, well, I have to give these guys an upgrade because I didn't quite have them high enough, is probably San Francisco, because it's one thing to do. It's one thing to do what they did, but it's another thing to do what they did against a defense of that caliber, a coach of that caliber on the road. I mean, they were just humming on offense, and if that's what you're going to do against a good defense, what are they going to do against? They probably don't even have to game plan for. Honestly, if Seattle sucks, they're just 6-0 in division, I guess, and
yeah, yeah, I would be so shocked if they weren't at this point. But I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know what to do with the Rams.
Things obviously happen. It's tough to grade the Rams.
Well, let me ask then. The 2 games you watched. The Bears a 4-win team.
Yeah, the play calling for the Bears was very rough, especially against a defense that was gettable, and it didn't seem to lean on the strengths. So I wonder what Getsy and Eberflus were thinking there. play calling was just really bad. Like they should have been in that game. I really liked Green Bay in the offense, and I was down on the Bears defense, but I thought we'd see a little more out of that offense. So I think the Bears can bounce back and win some games, be in some games, show something in offense. But boy, he was just. They were asking Fields to do stuff that you don't want to ask Fields to do. Like have him do the things he's great at. Why are we forcing things instead? Just because we got a DJ Moore clocked a guy. That was like this highlight today. It's funny. DJ Moore and Justin Jefferson laid some guys down.
The Vikings going to lose 8 one-score games this year?
I bet if you looked at that box score, it's a little bit lopsided. I bet Minnesota had more yardage.
Oh, by a lot.
I didn't even look. I'm guessing they had 100 more yards.
Yeah, it was about
369 to 242.
It was 100 plus.
So obviously the turnover. I don't know, Kirk feeling himself a little like Minnesota probably
2 fumbles and a pick for Kirk.
Yeah, Minnesota probably deserved a little better. I still think 6 was too much. But I think they should have won, not covered. Yeah, 3-0 on the turnover battle, and that's what happened. And boy, you'll never find anybody as happy as an announcer who says something, and then that shit happens like 2 plays later.
Oh, sure.
Those guys, they noticed Bradbury went out. And they're like, oh man, back at this is Taylor's oldest time guy, back up center. They haven't practiced this exchange as much. He gets a little time in preseason, but not nearly as much as a starter. So this is something we're going to have to watch. And then, of course, there's a fumble like 3 plays later.
It wasn't even the center's fault. It was the guard's fault.
Yeah, it's just like the highlight of their day. Oh, my God, we told you.
We said it was
coming. Man, we said this was coming. And, of course, the turnovers were a big part of that game. That said, I really, really was impressed with Tampa Bay when they went tempo late in the first half, and Baker in the second half he seemed more engaged. Like he cared. He seemed like he cared more in the second half. He made a couple good plays with his legs. He made some good throws. He made some good decisions. Mm-hmm. He stayed out of that wince area where he can find himself sometimes where he gets in trouble. Yeah. And Davenport was a big miss. That was part of the reason that I was like 70-30 he was going to play. I think I was looking at the notes. I thought he was in.
I didn't understand that was coming at all. Yeah.
It was a concern, but that was definitely a bonus. Dobbs. Honestly, too, Joshua Dobbs played some decent ball. It's still a bad team.
Yeah,
that defense played pretty well.
Yeah, who scores more than 10 points first between Houston and Carolina?
I'd have to look at the schedule. They got to go against somebody bad. Honestly, Houston plays Indy this week, so and I'm probably I will say so. We'll do full recap and early lines tomorrow at some point. But I did bet Indy and New England on the money lines today.
Good looks. What's the fair price for what happened?
They fumbled at the 5, but they recovered it. Nothing better for an under than a fumble in the red zone. That would have been great.
Who has it now? Dallas is driving?
Dallas is driving. Right off the bat. They've taken 4 minutes off the clock, but they're at the 5.
That's good.
So, the Giants kind of need to just fuck off completely. AR, it sounded like he was okay. He just took a shot. That's not great, though. Feels like he's going to take plenty of those this year. Yeah, Miami Chargers was kind of a crazy-ass game. That was fun. That was having Miami +3 never felt good. That was one of those two where it's like there was like a bunch of times where I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I took Miami in the points.
There was a
line.
Yeah,
and
there was a
like,
specific reason it felt really good, though. There was a specific reason a specific point in time where it felt really good, which was when the kicker missed the point after. No, when the kicker missed the point after. You're like,
that was helpful. It's like unless they break a play, they're playing for a field goal now. Yeah. I know it helped, but in my mind, it's still like they've given up some big plays today. Richardson should run more. Field should run more. There's Oz. Oh my God, Pollard just waltzes in. At least didn't bet the Giants. Still have a chance here. So, anything else? I think he's talking to his Uber driver now. Miami's offense did look pretty sharp, but at the same time, their defense looked like hammered dog shit. And yeah, there's some good players. The Chargers have a nice trio of receivers and obviously a great receiving back, and he looked really good today. But yeah, Miami's defense looked bad. The Jags defense looked bad. The Vikings defense looked pretty rough, all things considered. The Bears defense looked really bad. The Packers defense really didn't look that good. There was a lot of defenses that were bad.
What's the fair price for Tyreek Hill, offensive player of the year now? Like minus 400?
I mean, there will be some overreaction, but I mean, Jefferson had a pretty big day too. Not Tyreek level, but there was a few guys that had some nice, like Christian McCaffrey. A lot of years, what he did in week 1 is like, hey, guess what? You're the favorite now. And he's probably third. He's third on the list. I mean, St. Brown had a nice week. I'm trying to think who else. I have to go look at kind of the standings there. It's honestly going to be a pain in the ass to look at the rookie of the years. There's like 100 rookies that played well this weekend already. It might be, we'll be talking about this for many years, Drew. It's the year of the rookie. Yeah, they do need to run the ball a little more. Oh, God. Fair price for Fields MVP. Yeah, every year we have one of those where something gets bet down and bet down and bet down, and eventually a book is just like, we don't want any more of this long shot and drop it to a ridiculous price. And you end up with Fields. I mean, Suma shared a picture from a paper ad where he was like 9-1 or something hilarious. Yeah, I'm not super keen on some of those MVP bets on guys that have a really, really, really skinny kind of narrow distribution on the very end of the tail that gets them there. Like, it's just such a weird year that would have to take them there over some of these really good quarterbacks. And yeah, if somebody else wins, if there's another quarterback that wins MVP, then Tua offensive player of the year over Tyreek. I mean,
that's a crazy take.
So
there's no way. That's a crazy take. Tyreek is
no. Follow me here.
All right.
The situation where it happens, Tua breaks Manning's record of like 5,500 yards or whatever. That's a good enough talking point. Yeah. And I mean, he put 500 yards today. He's on pace.
Yeah, I mean, if Waddle has some games where he's the guy, then yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Tyreek can't have, if Tyreek has 2,000, I'm not sure if breaking Manning's records matters anymore. And at the same time, Tua maybe in that instance, maybe Tua just wins MVP, guys.
Okay.
If he has 5,500 yards.
I gotta go, man. We'll make a plan and we'll do our show tomorrow. All right, see ya. Bye-bye.